In this video, we discuss the dropout rate in school education in India and its consequences for achieving the goal of universalization of secondary education by 2030 and 50% increase in higher education enrollment by 2035, which is indicated in the National Education Policy 2020. High dropout rates impact not just the individual but also society as a whole. Before we delve into the specifics, it is significant to understand the implications of high dropout rates in schools and the methodology of their calculation. Dropout rates are calculated for primary, upper primary, secondary, and higher secondary levels of education at the block, district, state, and national levels. To calculate the dropout rate at the primary level, we monitor a cohort of students throughout the school year. Grade-wise enrollment in grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and grade 5 in 2 consecutive years, for example 2020-21 and 2021-22, and a grade-wise number of repeaters in the latest year, 2021-22, is required to compute dropout rate at primary level. The data is sourced from the Unified District Information System for Education, UDISE+, providing detailed data on school education in India. However, it's essential to note that the official dropout rate often underestimates the actual dropout rate, as it is based on all schools, not just common schools. Due to efforts made by one of the premier institutions, the National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration (NIPA), the time lag in school education data at one point of time was brought to less than a year, but recently it again started increasing. UDISE+ data is latest available for the year 2021-22. A bustling Indian classroom filled with children, soaking up knowledge. Yet, the reality is alarming. The turnout dwindles as years pass. It's the high dropout rate in Indian schools. While it seems insignificant initially, only 1.5% at primary and 3% at upper primary level, the underlying truth is grimmer than what it appears at first look. At the secondary level, dropout rate skyrockets to a staggering 12.6%, a figure that forces to ponder the consequences. The unfinished education of these children need urgent addressing and need to bring the issue to the forefront and address it without further losing time. It may be observed that just after the independence in 1950, India resolved to attain universal primary education by 1960. Despite improvement, the retention rate at grade 12 still remained low at 44%. Imagine a scene where we navigate through a school corridor. We see boys outnumber girls, reflecting a harsh truth about education. UDISE+ 2021-22 shows that the dropout rate is at upper primary level is higher for girls than boys. The gender disparity is disturbing, shedding light on the unequal dropout rates between the two genders. The NSSO's 75th round on education revealed that 13.5% of boys and 20.3% of girls dropped out of secondary school. The majority of these dropouts were due to economic reasons, as families couldn't afford the expense of education. Another reason was the lack of interest in studies, accounting for 33% of the dropouts. The data exposes the evident fewer girls attending school, providing a stark reality check. Economic constraints and disinterest in studies mirror the social and cultural norms that remain rooted in the country, acting as roadblocks in the path of girls' education. However, one would argue that the girls' participation in educational programs has recently improved, which is visible in the Gender Parity Index. Further inspecting states one by one, we find alarming disparities in gender-wise dropout rates. In some places, girls drop out more frequently than boys, yet elsewhere, it's boys who lag behind. For instance, in Assam, the dropout rate for girls in upper primary school is 7.6% compared to 10.1% for boys. One of the populous states, namely Bihar, has a dropout rate of 20.5% at the secondary level, which is also higher than the national average. The dropout rate in Uttar Pradesh is also high, with around 14% of students dropping out of primary schools and 31% dropping out of secondary schools. States like Manipur and Meghalaya too have a high incidence of dropout even at primary level. The pattern of fluctuating dropout rates across states in India is a clear indication of the intricate and multi-dimensional causes behind this educational concern. Official statistics suggest that 4.7 million students dropped out of elementary classes in 2021-22 over the previous year. At least 10 states reported dropped out children in elementary classes, more than 100,000, with the highest number of 974,000 students in Uttar Pradesh, followed by Madhya Pradesh, 607,000 students and 481,000 students in Rajasthan. High dropouts are also reflected in retention rate, which is as low as 42% up to grade 12, and transition rate from secondary to higher secondary level, which is only 73.3%. States with higher numbers must undertake disaggregated data analysis, determine who dropped out, and initiate strategies to bring them under the education umbrella. Today, we set our sights on the National Education Policy 2020, a policy with a vision for universal school education by 2030. It is not just an ambition, but a necessity, an imperative that every child deserves an opportunity to become a higher secondary graduate. Several factors contribute to high dropout rates, with poverty being a significant one. The quality of education also plays an equally important role, and this is where key insights from the Annual Status of Education Report and National Achievement Survey of NCERT come into play, which reveal that education often fails to meet the expectations, which leads parents to question, thereby stoking the dropout rates. Doubts are raised whether keeping their wards in school serves any purpose if the quality of education doesn't match up their expectations. One may argue that parents fulfill duty by sending their wards to schools. Is there something seriously wrong in schools because of which students heavily drop out? Efforts are being made to improve the quality of education, provide financial support to families, and address the barriers that prevent children, especially girls, from attending school. The policymakers are taking necessary steps to enhance the quality of education. NEP 2020 visualizes a 50% increase in the enrollment for higher education by 2035. This cannot be achieved without improving the efficiency of the school education sector. In this regard, it is important to identify regions such as states, districts, and blocks, and populations such as these scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and Muslim minority children with high dropout rates. Equally important issue is to know reasons of dropout. Concentrating on these regions enables us to intervene and customize strategies. Thorough analysis of data must be undertaken, and due attention to states with high dropout rates must be given while formulating district annual plans under the government's flagship program, Samagra Shiksha. Achieving the target is not merely about swelling the enrollment numbers. Let us make the plan formulation a thorough academic exercise and ensure participation of all concerned to identify issues of concern. We must ensure that the students who enter into the education system continue their academic journey unhindered until they reach higher education. This is where our combined endeavors come into play. Students must transit from one level of education to another. By implementing effective teaching methods, offering support to economically disadvantaged families, and breaking down societal norms that serve as obstacles, we can heighten the effectiveness of the school education sector. It's a wake-up call that the dropout rates are not just statistics and numbers. It falls upon us to ensure that these dreams do not crumble due of resources. Let's all pool our efforts to bring the vision of National Education Policy 2020 to fruition. Dr. Arun Mehta is a leading academician who has worked in NEPA for almost 4 decades and has intensively worked in school education and data analysis. Please visit his website educationforallinindia.com, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching the video.